Hello everybody, today we're going to be going over the Storm Werewolf Tornado build. You may have seen this popping up everywhere now. I think it's kind of dethroned the Pulverize build in the Druid meta, which is pretty interesting. So I'm going to give you guys my take on it. I'll show you what I've been doing, and then I'll show you what, kind of what other people have been doing, I guess what the standard is, just so you guys can kind of see and understand this build. So first off, you need Tempest Roar, and if you don't have Tempest Roar, you can't really do this build. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. You could just go play a regular tornado build, but if you don't have Tempest Roar, I guess. But this build is all based around having Tempest Roar, so if you don't have this, it's going to be you really can't do the build, unfortunately. So go farm this up. If you want to know how to get Tempest Roar, you have to have tier 3 unlocked at least, and just go farm nightmare dungeons or whatever, or just dungeons in general, whatever have you, until you get it. Keep in mind, it's not that easy to get. I've been playing for a very large amount of time for the past 7 days, and I'm just now getting it like yesterday. So it's not too easy to find. However, when you do find it, it does unlock this build, and this build is pretty great. I've had a pretty good time playing it. So that being said, when it comes to stats, damage while shapeshifted, critical strike damage, max spirit, and poison resistance, you can't actually change anything on this because it's a unique item. This is just what it's going to have. Storm skills have up to a 25% chance to grant force spirit, and your base storm skills are now also werewolf skills. This is what's turning all your storm skills into werewolf skills. Now, when I originally saw this, I actually thought that it just meant like your wind shear and storm strike, so I thought the item was potentially kind of bad, but I was unsure because, last time I looked at this, the game hadn't been released, and I've been farming the living heck out of the game looking for this so I can test it. And lo and behold, as I finally get it, you see videos popping up everywhere that, oh my gosh, new broken Storm Werewolf build, yada yada. So, pretty happy I was wrong about that, and this turned out to be better because, you have all kinds of cool builds coming out of it now. Anyway, moving on to Runic Mail of Disobedience. So you gain 0.5% increased armor for 4 seconds when you deal any form of damage, stacking up to 50%. On your chest piece for stats, I would recommend damage reduction from distant enemies, damage reduction from close enemies. Then I'd recommend, I believe it's damage reduction while fortified, or damage reduction from poisoned enemies. Either of those is fine. It's kind of hard to find something that has that kind of like trifecta or like quad stats on it that are good. So as long as you can get, like, if you could just get the damage reduction from distant and the damage reduction from close, that's going to be pretty good, and you're going to notice a pretty big difference in your defense. Don't sleep on the secondary stats on your armor especially. So next up, your Earthermite Key passive also applies to your storm skills. So this is going to make the Earthermite Key passive apply to storm skills. For stats on this, I would recommend lucky hit chance, an increased lucky hit chance, critical strike chance, attack speed, and tornado would be the stats that I would recommend for this. The reason why is because there's a lot of lucky hit stuff going on here, so having increased lucky hit chance is really good. Next, Archon Falls of Might. So basic skills grant 20% damage reduction for 6 seconds. This is pretty good because it makes it to where when you cast your wind shear, you get 20% damage reduction. For this, I would recommend damage reduction from close enemies. I'd recommend damage reduction from distant enemies. Then I would recommend damage reduction from poisoned enemies. And then I personally like max life. However, you can also go like ranks into, what if there's a skill that you're using. I think you can get like ranks into Hurricane, which could potentially be good if you're going for a Hurricane focused build. I've been testing out a Hurricane focused build, and I haven't been too crazy about it, but max life is what I'm probably going to end up going with. After that, we have Sabatons of the Dark Howl. Now this is probably where I think the way I'm playing the build is going to be a little bit different from the way most people are doing it. So a lot of people are running Temerity, and Temerity is a unique item, right? And you already need this unique item, right? So getting another unique item is going to be really hard. So doing it this way is kind of a way to where you don't really need Temerity, because a lot of people are running Temerity and then Blood Howl, because what Temerity does is it takes all your overhealing and turns it into a barrier. So things like Blood Howl become really good when you can just pop it and then get attack speed and then also activate your Temerity barrier. But if you don't have that, then Blood Howl becomes a decent amount worse. So then the question becomes, well, what do you do? And what I'm doing is I am putting on this. Debilitating Roar is now a werewolf skill. In addition, Debilitating Roar will immobilize poisoned enemies for 2 seconds. It also gives you access to Immobilize, so it actually will let you take another passive if you want to as well that can increase your damage since you have access to Immobilize, because you don't really have access to Immobilize with this variant unless you were to go Storm Strike, which is something I'll talk about in a second. Next you have Belova of the Tempest. So I was testing out a Hurricane build. I'm still unsure on if that's going to be how I go about it, because since you have this multiplier and you don't necessarily have like a super good option. Like the one most people are going on this is your critical strikes with core skills increase your attack speed by 33%, but the thing is that if you don't have all the other lucky hit stuff like on your totem and stuff, you're gonna run out of spirit a lot. So like if you're running out of spirit, I don't know, it's like it's not like it's good, but it's not like as good. I think the attack speed is really good when you have all of your stats in place. But that being said, I'm still not 100% certain on Hurricane. So if you want to be safe, just go the critical strikes with core skills, increase your attack speed one. But I've been messing around with Hurricane, so and it's been all right. Not nothing crazy, but all right. So that being said, so for stats on this, I would recommend damage to close enemies, vulnerable damage, critical strike damage with werewolf skills, and then critical strike damage. On the boots, I'd recommend 37% damage reduction while injured, dodge chance against instant enemies, movement speed, and then after that, whatever's on it, I would say is fine, because like I said, it's hard to find quad stuff. So dexterity here, like this is probably fine. Next we have Dire Wolf's Amulet. Grizzly Rage now shapeshifts you into a dire werewolf. As a dire werewolf, you gain 35% movement speed instead of damage reduction and 69% spirit cost reduction bonus. In addition, kills heal you for 10% of your max life, so this combos with Temerity pretty well. And then on top of that, it also makes your tornado, like, I think my tornado cost me like 10 spirit or something like that whenever I have it on. So it really reduces it to where you could just spam the heck out of tornadoes, and then when you think about, you know, you're getting spirit back from this and stuff like that, you really start to get there. So what I'd recommend on the amulet is cooldown reduction if you can, and then after that I would just say anything that works with the tornado. So rank of wild impulses passive's okay. It's not the best thing, but it's not bad. Damage reduction from close enemies. Damage reduction is always good, especially when you're pushing up into anything higher, like, you know, once you start getting outside of even like World Tier 4 and you start pushing into Nightmare Dungeons, higher levels. Spirit cost reduction is good. Willpower is alright, but I also would recommend, you know, maybe getting something like vulnerable damage or something like that on the necklace. So yeah, just make sure whatever you put on the necklace you just get value from, but I think cooldown reduction and spirit cost reduction would probably be the main things that you would need on the necklace. So on the ring, the duration of Grizzly Rage is increased by 4 seconds. In addition, critical strikes of the Grizzly Rage is increased, increases your critical strike damage by 10%. So this is pretty cool because whenever your Earthen Might procs, you're going to notice that your damage is going to skyrocket all of a sudden. It's because of this item right here. Your critical strike damage starts going way up, and you're guaranteed to crit whenever Earthen Might procs, so you just start doing a ton of damage. You'll see it in the demonstration what I'm talking about. So then we have Storm Chaser's Loop. Tornado will seek up to 3 targets. This is good because it just helps your tornado actually hit things and find things. For the rings, you're going to want critical strike chance, vulnerable damage, damage to close enemies, and critical strike damage. Now you can also get damage to crowd controlled enemies. I'd say there's a couple different setups you can do, but really just make sure that, again, whatever is on your, you know, jewelry, it just benefits the tornado is kind of the main thing. You do have access to vulnerable, so vulnerable's good. You have access to crowd control, so crowd control's good. You're going to be up close, so close is good. And then you're going to be critting a lot, so critical strike damage is also good, right? Okay, moving on. So up to a 5% chance to, what am I saying? Your core skills deal up to 38% increased damage based on your amount of Fortify. This is just really solid. You're going to have a ton of Fortify with this build, so it's really good. You're going to end up doing a ton more damage with your tornado. And if you wanted to, you could get rid of Hurricane, you could get rid of the Totem, and you could do like a two-handed staff that's focused on crowd control damage, and then try that out. But I'm not sure I would 100% recommend that, and the main reason why is because you can get like 3 different lucky hit things here, and so up to a 5% chance to heal 1300 life, and then there's another one that has a chance to restore your resource, and you can get like this spirit cost reduction here. So this is actually really good in the build, and that up to 5% chance to heal, you're going to notice that a lot, especially whenever you have like, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 tornadoes out or whatever, and it's just proccing the living heck out of all these lucky hits. So yeah, moving on to Spirit Boons, we are going to want to take Wariness. I'm taking Iron Feather, however you could also take Swooping Attacks or Avian Wrath. I've just been going more defensive lately because I was doing a little bit of pushing. Calamity, extend the duration of ultimate skills by 25%. So this is going to give you about 2.5 seconds extra on your Grizzly Rage. So increasing the duration of your Grizzly Rage is always typically pretty good. Another option is dealing damage has up to a 10% chance to restore, or 15% chance to restore 10 spirit. That's also pretty good. You could go that if you want to as well, because that would help during your Grizzly Rage window, just making sure you have more spirit, you don't ever run out. And then next you have Masochistic and Combo for the Storm. So your shape-shifting skills heal you for 3% of your max life. So your Tornado and your Wind Shear and all that stuff, it turns into a shape-shifting skill when it becomes a werewolf skill. So it makes it proc this stuff. So that means you're just going to be healing an absolute ton, especially when your other might procs. Then you have Combo for the Storm. Nature magic skills have up to a 10% chance to reduce the cooldown of your ultimate skill by 2 seconds. This is just going to help get your Grizzly Rage up faster after it's gone. So overall, pretty good. Abilities. So first off, we have Wind Shear, Enhanced Wind Shear, and Fierce Wind Shear. So like I said, because I don't have Temerity, I feel like I've been having some survivability issues. However, another option you can go here is Storm Strike, Enhanced Storm Strike, and Fierce Storm Strike. So I've been doing Wind Shear just so I can do a little bit more kiting until I get better stats and I have better Grizzly Rage uptime. But you can go Storm Strike, Enhanced Storm Strike, Fierce Storm Strike, which is probably going to be what I'm going to do because I like a more up close and personal build, and you're going to get another 20% damage reduction from Storm Strike anyway, which will be pretty cool, especially when you combo it with the aspect of Might. So you're getting like 45% damage reduction when you ever use Storm Strike. So not bad, not bad. Moving on, go ahead and max out Tornado, Enhanced Tornado, Raging Tornado. Then we have Wild Impulses. This is going to increase the damage of your core skills, and then this is going to make it to where Tornado gives things vulnerable, and this makes it to where you have a 20% chance to spawn an additional Tornado. Then go ahead and pick up Predatory Instinct, and then go ahead and pick up this big old word so you can get some movement speed. Come over here, Cyclone Armor, Enhanced Cyclone Armor, Preserving Cyclone Armor. This is cool because it gives you 30% damage reduction every 10 seconds for 2 seconds. And then the main thing is whenever you get cornered, because you're going to be kind of up close and personal, if you ever get into a situation where Grizzly Rage is down and you get cornered, you can just press this and then it'll just knock everybody back and all of a sudden you're free. So pretty good defensive cooldown. Also gives you 10% non-physical damage reduction. So yeah, and people who are knocked back are slowed, so I guess it's also another way to slow. Then we're going to take Debilitating Roar. So shapeshift into a werebear and bellow a mighty roar, reducing nearby enemies' damage dealt by 70% for 4 seconds. Debilitating Roar also fortifies you for 22% base life, and then it also heals you for 4% of your max life. So this is pretty good. So if you ever get surrounded, what I've actually noticed is that whenever you go for kind of like the all-in, I guess if that makes sense, where you kind of jump in with Grizzly Rage and you just want to spam tornadoes, reducing everything's damage by 4 seconds is quite huge in terms of just going in and just DPSing everything down real fast. So it's going to help keep your Fortify up, it's going to give you Fortify, and it's also going to give you a little bit of healing too. Go ahead and pick up Ancestral Fortitude and Vigilance. Because this is such a, up in your face build, you really need to stack on the resistances and the damage reduction. Like you really need it. If you do have Temerity though, you can go Blood Howl, Enhanced Blood Howl, and then Preserving Blood Howl with the attack speed. And then, oh, and if you do have temerity, you can set on your boots. You can go to the one where it says whenever you're unstoppable, you get like X movement speed, and then you get ghosting. That's pretty good. So, okay. Next up, moving on down the row. So take Hurricane, Enhanced Hurricane, and Savage Hurricane. This is going to give you another damage reduction. It's going to give you a slow, and then it's also going to do a little bit of damage. Nothing too crazy, but a little bit. Over here on the passives, we're going to go Elemental Exposure. Your storm skills have up to a 10% chance to make things vulnerable. Then we're going to go Endless Tempest. It's going to increase the duration of your Hurricane and your Cataclysm. And then we're going to go Bad Omen. Up to a 30% chance when dealing damage to a vulnerable or immobilized or stunned enemy to cast a lightning bolt. I like this just because since we have such good access to vulnerable, this is just free extra damage. So, you know, why not? It might not be anything too crazy, but why not? I might end up changing that later. It might be worth it to go into Hurricane. But the thing with Hurricane is that, you know, you're not really basing in your damage totally on that. And whenever you put points into it, it does not increase how long it lasts. So it's like, I don't know, it's not, it doesn't make, and it also doesn't like reduce the cooldown, so it doesn't make me really too fond of like trying to max it out. So especially since I'm probably going to get rid of the Hurricane Legendary. So yeah. Moving on down the row, or here we got Neurotoxin. Poisoned enemies are slowed by 8%. Toxic Claws. Critical strikes with werewolf skills do 8% of their base damage as poison damage. So this is pretty cool because when your Earther Might procs, it's going to make, you know, your Hurricane deal poison damage. It's going to make your Tornadoes deal poison damage. So you'll actually find that you're going to have a lot of things poisoned quite a bit of the time. And then when things are poisoned, they're going to take an additional 30% additional critical strike damage. So again, just another combo with the Earther Might. It's pretty good. Coming down here, Nature Magic skills deal 12% increased damage to elites. Then we're going to take Grizzly Rage. We're going to take Prime Grizzly Rage, so you have Unstoppable, and then we're going to take Supreme Grizzly Rage. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to layer on the defenses again. Increases the amount of Fortify you gain from all sources by 5%. And you have a 15% chance when struck to fortify you for 4% of your base life. Depending on what kind of enemies you're fighting and stuff like that, what kind of dungeons you like to do, Thick Hide is also pretty good, I think. If you're playing against stuff that has a lot of stunning, immobilized, or like if you're doing a cold enchanted thing, then Thick Hide can be pretty good because cold enchanted is kind of rough to deal with sometimes. And then Earther Might, damaging enemies with Storm skills, has up to a 5% chance to restore all your spirit and cause your attacks to be guaranteed critical strikes. This is just going to create pretty crazy burst windows for you whenever this procs. Alright, moving on to Paragon. So what I went was, I went Spirit. This just increases your critical strike damage, and then whenever you crit something, it increases how much damage they take from you. I just tried to take as much dexterity as I could, and then moving on up, took all the damage passives, etc., etc. Came over here, took this damage passive. Moving on up the row. At this, I'm taking Exploit. Since you have such good access to vulnerability, this is really good, and it also gives you another way to proc vulnerability, so that's also pretty good. This can be Lust for Carnage because this is the werewolf board. Then I came over here. We're going to take Regenerative, just pick up some defense stuff to get increased healing received. Since we do have things like Masochistic, stuff like that, it's pretty good. Then I came over here. I took all this stuff in order to get some more werewolf damage. Then come up here, get Lust for Carnage, critical strikes with werewolf skills, restore 2 spirit. Then I came over here, took more werewolf skill damage. Moving on up. So next we go into the Thunderstruck. Since we have a lot of vulnerable damage, moving into the Thunderstruck board isn't too bad. But you also could go into the Ancestral Guidance board here, because how you choose to go about like which damage bonuses you get, I guess, it's kind of up to you. Because if you go into the Ancestral Guidance board, you're gonna see a lot of core skill damage increases, which is also pretty good. I ended up going for this one because I kind of wanted to try it out because I actually hadn't really used this board an insane amount before. But anyway, so come over here, storm skill damage, storm skill damage, storm skill damage. Come up here, glyph socket, werewolf. So, oh geez, I deal 30% damage while in werewolf form, which is going to be a lot, and you also get 10% damage reduction, so that's going to help you with your defenses. I was thinking about coming over here. If you want more defense, I think coming over here and grabbing Hubris isn't a bad idea, because we do have such good access to vulnerability, so I don't think that's too bad. So yeah, so then pick up as many willpower things as you can. Level that up as much as you can, because it will increase the radius, which will give you access to a little bit more willpower here and here. So, and stacking that up pretty high is pretty good. Come over here, get Deluge. So increase damage to crowd controlled enemies, crit damage, good stuff. Move on over here. Go ahead and pick up Thunderstruck. This is going to give you 30% increased critical strike damage against vulnerable or immobilized enemies. And because we're running the debilitating roar, you're actually able to proc the immobilized part of that too, which is pretty cool. Then come up here, pick up the vulnerable damage and the critical strike damage, and then move on to the next board, which I decided to go into the Heightened Malice board, because I decided I wanted to see how that would work, because I was thinking about the Ancestral Guidance board, and I was like, well, there's a bunch of core skill damage there, or I could go for increased damage to poisoned enemies. So I was going to test out to see which one's better. I'd probably say Ancestral Guidance is probably going to come out better most of the time, but I figured I'd give this a shot too. You can actually keep Heightened Malice procced all the time because of your Toxic Claws, so that's good. So for this slot, I would say increase damage while fortified, which is Undaunted. So I would say go ahead and throw Undaunted in there. And then I would say, where is the close damage one? There's one in here that says, yeah, right here, Territorial. For every 5 dexterity purchased within range, you deal 2% increased damage to close targets. That's what I would do for the one after that. And I think that would be it for your glyph sockets. So, coming over here, you're going to want to go Ancestral Guidance, and then how you rotate the board is kind of up to you. I think I would probably do it something like, let's see here, something like, so you have core skill damage down here, which is kind of unfortunate. You also have core skill damage right here. So we're going to go, I'd say probably something like this, since you're going to have to go so out of your way. So come down here, get the Spirit on Kill, because Spirit on Kill is actually pretty good with this to keep your spirit up. Go ahead and pick this up. Then I'd probably travel on over here, pick up all the core skill damage stuff. Then come up over here, pick up this core skill damage, get that next glyph slot. And then after that, I'd say it's up to you and what you feel is best, because I don't think there's anything too particularly crazy that sticks out to me. Besides, I guess you could do this one, Constricting Tendrils, if you wanted to. Now I don't know how good going for this is, but just going through here to pick up 10% nature magic skill damage could be pretty good, because Tornado is a nature magic skill. So I would imagine if you did anything, you would just pick up another glyph socket and then come through here and pick up the nature magic skill damage. That to me would be what would make the most sense. Okay, so that being said, that is the build. So let's go ahead and hop into just a little bit of a demonstration. Alrighty, let's give her the old college try here. We're in a 37 Prison of Chaldea Nightmare Dungeon. So first off, slay the warden, collect the key. Why not? Alright, let's go ahead and start here. You want to make sure that you kill these damage resist guys first, otherwise the rest of these guys are not going to take any damage. They're really annoying. Very annoying. Okay, go ahead. There we go here. Alright, not bad. And just kind of kite. Keep on kiting. Keeping things grouped is probably the best here. Best thing we can do. Until we get this up, that was actually perfect. Now we can actually kind of dash in and do this. Since we hit that crit proc, and then boom, big damage. Tainted Knight, no problem. Big thing you need to watch on this build is your spirit, because when your spirit just like randomly pops to full, that means you popped Earthen Might, right? That's the easiest way that visual cue that I use to know that I have it, instead of just sitting here and watching my damn minibar. Now, if anybody knows a better way, please enlighten me, but that's what I do. And once you see that, you know, oh my gosh, oh, Chilling Wind, my favorite affix. Just kidding. Alright, and well, I do a lot of kiting while Grizzly Rage is not up, because a lot of your power comes from Grizzly Rage. Oh my gosh, this is not good, but there we go. Okay, should be able to get this now. And Warden's dead. Gotta stay out of his little molten thing. I've definitely been killed by that a billion times. Okay, and we keep going. Definitely been killed by that a few times, but yeah. I know the way I play the build is I just kite if I don't have Grizzly Rage. I don't really try to focus on killing anything. And then I kind of try to kill stuff in that 30-second window. I think if my gear was better, I'd have better uptime on it. So like here. And you can actually tank quite a bit. You don't want to stand at everything, but you know, you want to make sure you dodge the explosions because those will get you, but your regen, because of masochistic, or is that what it's called? I don't know. The one, the boon that heals you. Hold on, I can tell you. The boon that heals you. Yes, masochistic. Critical strikes or shape-shifting skills heal you. Because whenever you turn this into a werewolf skill, notice it's also typed as a shape-shifting skill. Yeah, don't get hit by those. I gotta keep moving. This is not the kind of dungeon affix that's gonna be kind to me. Alright, so now we gotta collect Animus from Animus carriers. Then we'll put it in the middle. And we'll do the boss. Okay, here's one. And notice, you know, I have debilitating roar, and you might see some storm builds without it. I know I've probably already mentioned this, but this is what I do when I don't have temerity. Now, I do think that Blood Howl is better when you have temerity, but I think when you don't have it, I think debilitating roar is a little bit better because you always get value. And I mean, you always get value out of Blood Howl for the attack speed too, but it's not. I feel like you get more when you're using debilitating roar until you get temerity, because then you get so much. Because then once you have temerity, you start to use the the heal from the oh god, I can't talk. The heal from the Blood Howl, and it'll overcap it, and it'll actually activate your temerity, right? So. And just kite backwards. We got 13 seconds. We're no problem. Dodge that. You really don't. Alright, wait for it. Wait for it. Hold. And fire. Alright, here we go. Now, we can just kind of, we don't need to worry about the fear anymore. And we do this. Come up. This and boom. See, it's like it's kind of a burst window type thing. Kill this guy because he keeps summoning things. Stop being annoying, Vile Shaman. Okay, awesome. We're doing stuff. We are doing stuff here. Alright, let's see here. Go down. I always go the wrong way in these places. Here we go. We got this up, we got our window, so now we just do this. And the cool thing about playing Grizzly Rage is that you have Unstoppable the whole time, right? So I just, so cold, all these really annoying affixes, they just go away, and it's really nice. Like, it's really freaking nice. And then here you go. Here we go. Alright. Oh wait, oh, I didn't kill this person? Wow, I'm trolling, I'm so sorry. Okay, I didn't miss. I don't know if you guys are like me, but I always seem to miss like a little bit of anima. No matter what I do. Oh my god, where am I going? I always miss a little bit of anima. Oh wow, that would have been nice to have, like, you know, way over. Let's see if we can actually make use of this. Because I have Grizzly Rage up. That'd be one hell of a burst. Okay. Here we go. Okay. And I think... No, I think there's one more. Yeah, it's back here. Can I get him? I don't think so. Yeah, I think I'm out. Oh, fudge. Oh, no. Woo. Woo. Yeah, that's why we got to get out when we don't have Grizzly Rage up. Almost died there. 3, 2, 1, and let's try this again. And make sure you keep Hurricane up. That does reduce things damage, and boom, everything dies. Wait, did I get it? Yes, I did. Okay. So now, the boss is going to die a little slow because we don't have Grizzly Rage up, but it's okay. It's okay. You'll see once I get Grizzly Rage up. That'd be whatever. This is kind of an easy boss because he has really choreographed stuff. Just wait for it. Oh man, that sucks. I just got an Earthen Might proc at the wrong time. Alright, but it's fine. Now, here's where the big damage happens. And you can see boss damage is not too bad. If you get an Earthen Might proc, oh, like this, yeah, see this? And dead. There it is. Yeah, so, there you go. So that's the Whirlwind build. Whirlwind build, what the hell am I talking? Tornado build, I mean, might as well be the Whirlwind build for the Druid. But yeah, that's how you do it. That's just kind of a little bit of a demo of what to do. So I guess in summation, if you wanted my tips for the build, if you don't have a whole lot of defense yet, if you don't have perfect gear like me, you don't have temerity and stuff like that, just make sure that you're kiting, and then once you have your Grizzly Rage up, then you can dash in and start doing stuff, because it's really beneficial to be up in their face because your tornadoes actually hit more than if you try to cast your tornadoes at a range. But you want to make sure you have this up, because if you dash in and you do not have Unstoppable, there are so many affixes that are going to blow your brains out, right? And we almost saw me die earlier, right? So yeah, but that's it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you guys next time.